Hello all, I am Dr. Chandrima Chatterjee. I am Assistant Professor of Economics at Nalsad University of Law, Hyderabad. So it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the lecture series of quantitative techniques for CLAT exam. I'm very sure that many of you have already started preparing for CLAT, and many of you have also gathered relevant information regarding CLAT exam and quantitative techniques. So, in this lecture series, basically what we will do, we will start with foundational concept of quantitative techniques, and eventually we will move towards more complex learning, more complex techniques and tools which you can apply during your CLAT exam. Now, coming to the subject, quantitative techniques. Quantitative techniques is a subject which we apply almost in our daily life. How? Suppose, for example, you want to purchase a pen. You will go to a shop and depending on its price and quality, you will purchase it. So, based on some numerical information, you will decide which pen to purchase. Same when someone wants to save money with a particular bank, he or she will consider the interest rate. What is the interest rate that the bank is offering? Based on that, the person will decide how much money to save with that particular bank. So, again, based on some numerical data, some fake facts and figures, people are deciding, people are taking their everyday life's decision. So, this is the relevance of quantitative techniques. So, I hope at the end of this course, you'll not only be enabled with tools and techniques of quantitative techniques to apply it in CLAT exam, but also it will help you in your further studies. Even if you take legal studies, it will help you in numerous way. So without further delay, we'll start today's lecture, and I wish you all very best and happy learning. So, coming to today's content, what we are going to discuss today, first I'll give you a brief idea about CLAT exam. I am sure that many of you already have this idea. Then we will discuss about question paper format. Then what are the different subjects that are, that you have to learn for preparation for CLAT exam. Then what is the percentage? What is the weightage that each and every subject carries, right? Then time management, another very important part of in any entrance exam, that also we will discuss. And what are the nature of question, especially for quantitative techniques. Now these are all information related to CLAT exam. In the second part, and also the syllabus, what are the topics we are going to cover under quantitative techniques, that also we will discuss. In the second part, we will start with defining quantitative techniques. What is quantitative techniques and what is the relevance or need of quantitative techniques? Then a base of quantitative techniques is data. So we will also try to define data, and we will know that how data can be interpreted. Then what is data set? What are the different components of a data set? And how data can be represented. Now there are numerous ways of representing data, right? Graphical representation, textual representation. So we will learn different representation of data. And finally, what we are going to cover in next few lectures, that also I will tell you at the last slide. So let us first start with what is CLAT exam. So as you know, CLAT, the full form of CLAT is Common Law Admission Test, which is conducted nationwide. Okay, and through this entrance exam, you can get admission to 24 national law universities. So 24 national NLUs are the participating universities for this CLAT exam. So based on your ranking, you will get admission to this national universities. So the pattern of question or the CLAT exam is designed in such a way that it intends to assess a student's thinking capability, analytical capability, and their competencies in various fields, right? So overall, it serves as a measure of aptitude and capabilities that is needed for legal studies. So since you will take legal studies, okay, so the needed aptitude and capabilities will be judged by this CLAT exam. Now coming to question paper format, it is based on multiple choice questions. So there will be 120 MCQ questions and you will get 2 hours, that is 120 minutes to finish the paper. Also very important part is that there will be deduction of 0.25 marks for each wrong answer. So if you leave a question, if you don't attempt a question, there will be no deduction of marks. But if you attempt it, if you marked it wrong, then 0.25 marks will be deducted. So coming to subjects, what are the different subjects? So there are 5 subjects on which this CLAT exam will be conducted. First is English language, current affairs, which will also include general knowledge, then legal reasoning, logical reasoning, and our interest of study, that is quantitative techniques, right? So coming to the weightage part, the highest, so this is the pie chart you can see, where percentage are mentioned, like legal 25% of the total questions will be from legal reasoning, followed by 20% in logical reasoning. General knowledge and current affairs will have 20% weightage, and English will also have 20% weightage. Now you can see quantitative techniques is only having 10% of weightage. Now this is the catch. Many students think that since quantitative techniques has a least weightage, so they avoid this part. But I will suggest, instead of avoiding quantitative techniques, you should focus more on learning different tools and techniques to solve numerical problems under quantitative techniques, because quantitative techniques is a subject that can help you to score 100% under quantitative techniques if you can apply tools and techniques effectively. So instead of avoiding it, my request to all of you is to please try to learn tools and techniques which are generally not very difficult, right? And if you can apply it properly in solving those problems, you can score 100% marks under quantitative techniques. Now coming to time management, as I mentioned already, there will be 120 questions and you will get 2 hours, that is 120 minutes. So for each question you will get 1 minute. But here one technique you have to apply for questions. Some questions in current affairs or legal reasoning may not take 60 seconds, right? It may take less than 60 seconds. So you have to save time in those areas, those subjects, and the more you have to apply additional, you have to use your additional saved time in more time consuming subjects like logical reasoning and quantitative techniques. So that is the main catch, right? That you have to save time in subjects which require less time, and you have to use the save time to the more time consuming subjects like, as I mentioned, logical reasoning and quantitative techniques. Coming to question paper format for quantitative techniques. So in quantitative techniques, you will have short sets of facts or proposition. You will basically have textual representation of numerical information. The source, there can be the textual information may have different sources. It can be collected from different sources like budget, like newspaper article, right? But there will be it will contain some numerical information. And from that numerical information, you have to deduct, you have to apply your logic and analytical skill, right, to solve those questions. So the question, actually answering the question for quantitative techniques require three skill set or three steps, right? First is you have to read the entire paragraph. So we call it sometimes caselet, right? So there will be short paragraph which will contain numerical information. So first you have to read the passage given, and you have to write somewhere all the information, all the numerical particular figures which you will get from that particular passage. Then second step will be to interpret and calculate numerical information. You have to read the questions, and based on the question you have to interpret, okay, and you have to calculate numerical information applying different mathematical tools and techniques, operatives, which we will see what is operator. So last step is you have to apply different mathematical tools to solve the question. So first step is you read it properly, you deduct numerical information from the passage and apply your mathematical tools that you have learned, right? So coming to the question pattern, so 4-5 years back, quantitative techniques generally had direct questions for CLAT exam. Just like this, here you can see that a short, simple question is mentioned here, where you can see here that Naresh brought a bicycle for each of his two sons. Each bicycle priced at 35,000. If the first bicycle is sold at a profit of 5%, how much should the other bicycle will be sold to have a total gain of 20% on both? So it is a clear numerical problem on profit and loss, and it will be followed by 4 options. It was followed by 4 options because that was the old pattern question. Secondly, the second question was like this: 80% of the student of a class took statistics and 45% took mathematics. If each student took statistics or mathematics and 40 took both, then you have to calculate the total number of students in the class. Again, it is a direct question on percentage, right? And it was followed by 4 alternatives, 4 options. So this was the old pattern, but under new pattern, as you can see, we have a small caselet here. So the entire numerical information is presented here in the form of a story, right? And this particular story or caselet contains many numerical informations. Like I will read few lines, like as per a survey conducted. So this particular textual information is collected from a survey which is conducted in a college out of students enrolled, that is 3,000. So that means total students enrolled here is 3,000, right? So let me change the color. So total students enrolled here is 3,000. That is information number 1. Say out of 3,000 students, 7,000 were girls and 1,700 were girl student and 1,300 were boys. So another set of information from this textual data. Data regarding students opting for various stream. Now, this is the first information was about total students, where second information was about gender distribution, how many girls and how many boys. The third numerical information which you will get here is about various stream of studies, that is non-medical, medical, commerce, arts and fine arts. Okay, and it shows that 25% of the enrolled students opted non-medical, and the percentage of girl in non-medical was 30%. So this is the third set of information where you will get information about non-medical registration of students, and fourth information you will get that how many girls are enrolled in non-medical stream. Fifth information is 15% of the total students opted for medical And out of those 15% who opted for medical, percentage of girl was 18%. So in this way, you have to uh, collect all the numerical information from this textual representation, and based on your question, which will come in this right hand side box, we will see you have to calculate, you have to apply relevant mathematical formulas. So first question was how many girls have opted non-medical. So, and it is followed by four, you can see four options. So from this entire information, so how many girls, percentage of girls opting for non-medical is also already there. That was 30%. You have to convert it in numbers, absolute numbers. So it is already when given in this paragraph, it is already given in percentage terms, but you have to convert it to absolute numbers, applying proper mathematical tools, proper mathematical formulas that we will learn in our subsequent videos. Second question is a little longer one. Girls have outnumbered boys in fine arts. So fine arts information is information regarding fine arts is also there. So as per this textual information, girls have outnumbered boys in fine arts. How many girls in fine arts are more than the boys as a percentage of total number of boys in fine arts? So here you have to find out percentage. Okay, so how many girls in fine arts are more than? So you have to compare here. First, you have to find out data regarding girls and boys, okay, who are enrolled in fine arts, and then you have to find out the difference. Okay, so applying proper mathematical tools, you have to find out the difference between girls and boys. Already information is given in this textual format. Third question is what is the ratio among boys and girls for non-medical? So non-medical girls percentage is already given 30%. Okay, so when girls percentage is given, okay, so by the reciprocal method you can find out how many, what is the percentage for boys, right, in non-medical stream. And given this, you can find out the ratio. So you have to apply formula of ratio here to find out the ratio. So first you have to find out the absolute numbers given the percentage. Percentage is already given. Given the percentage, you have to find out absolute numbers, and then you have to find out the ratio. Directly from percentage also you can find out the ratio. So there are different techniques of solving a particular numerical problem. So the main point here is that first you have to read the entire paragraph, and you have to, based on the, then you should read the questions. Okay, and based on the question you should collect relevant information which is relevant for that particular question, and you apply the numerical formulas, you apply the mathematical formulas to find out the answer. Okay, so the question pattern will be like this. It will be given in a short caselet or in a story format in more informal sense, right? And it will be followed by 3-4 questions. So per paragraph you will get, since 10% weightage is there for quantitative techniques, so you'll get maximum 2 or 3 paragraphs, and each paragraph will be followed by 3 or 4 3 to 5 questions. Coming to syllabus of quantitative techniques, what we are going to cover under quantitative techniques in our subsequent lecture videos. The next video will be on basic mathematical operations. So I'm sure that all of you are aware of basic mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, division and multiplication, but still there are some rules that you need to know. So we will discuss on this, and we will also practice some numerical. Then ratio and proportion, we will learn percentage as well as average, which is also called mean in statistical term. We will also learn weighted, how to calculate weighted mean. Then simple and compound interest, followed by profit and loss. Different formulas of profit of loss and different numericals related to profit and loss we will practice, and then we will learn one statistical measure, which is probability, and finally we will learn some basic formulas of mensuration, and we will see how to apply it, right? So this is the syllabus which we will follow in our subsequent lecture videos, right? So coming to quantitative techniques, as I already mentioned, that quantitative techniques is a subject which we apply in our daily lives, and I have already given you enough example of this. So how can we define quantitative techniques? So it actually refers to a set of mathematical and statistical tools or measures that is generally used to analyze data, okay, and it also offers powerful methods for making decisions. As I have already given you examples how we take decision based on numerical information in our daily lives. So main objective of learning quantitative techniques is to make informed decisions, rational decisions, right? So we can say that quantitative techniques is actually based on numbers, symbols, mathematical operators, different formulas, okay, quantities, okay, which serves as supplements to the judgment and intuitions to decision makers, right? Now, as I mentioned, that the base of quantitative technique is based on data, which is numerical information. So what is data? Data are basically the measurements or observations that are collected as a source of information. Okay, data can be facts or figures, basically numerical information. It can be non-numeric information also, that we will see that what are the different kinds of data. But basically data are facts and figures which are collected for the purpose of analysis and summarizing a particular event, okay, or a particular scenario. For example, example of data is, suppose a number of people in a country, the country where people are born. So that is a qualitative data, because the country is, the name of the country cannot be numeric, cannot be presented in numeric value. So it is a qualitative data. On the other hand, number of people in a country, what is the total population, that is again a numeric fact, right? Number of times India won cricket World Cup, that is again a numeric figures that will be represented using a numeric figure. So that is quantitative data. So coming to data interpretation, there is a particular process of data interpretation, right? First, there are several steps involved in data interpretation. So what are the steps? So first, you have to collect data. First step is you have to collect data. You can collect it directly from the subject, or you can collect it from other sources. Then once you have collected data, you have to clean it, you have to organize it properly. Otherwise, randomly collected data, you cannot interpret randomly collected data. So you have to organize it properly using various software. Then you have to analyze the data using statistical tools, mathematical tools, and finally, whatever result, whatever outcome you will get, you have to analyze that to make this informed decision. So our objective is to make informed decision, and how we can do this using this particular data interpretation steps. So first, collection of data. Then so in the text, in the previous text question paper, you have seen that the data is collected from a survey in a college, right? So first there was a data collection, then they have organized the data in that particular way. I mean, how many are girls, how many are boys, in which stream, how many are enrolled. Okay, so that is the organization of data. Your task will be to analyze the data applying different mathematical tools and then interpret the result. Okay. So coming to dataset is very crucial for quantitative techniques. Dataset is actually a complete collection of data. Just like in previous example, we have seen that what is the total number of people in a country, that is what is the population. Okay, so that is a single information regarding population. Now if we match this population data with some other kind of variables, like what is out of this population, what is the gender ratio, okay, in which cities how many which cities are having how many people living in, right? So if we make a complete state, I mean we collect data on several subjects and several variables, then it will generate a complete data set. So it is a complete collection of all observation or different observation, not a single observation. So data set again will have three components: elements, variables, and observation. So what are elements? Elements are the subjects on which you are collecting data. Okay, like for example, you are collecting data, you are doing a survey in a school or college on students. Okay, so students are the subject on which you are on students you are collecting information. So students are elements here because they are the subject of this study. Next is variable. What is variable? Variables are the characteristics of elements. So which characteristics of the subjects you are collecting data on, right? Suppose how much they have scored in different tests. So it is one of their characteristics, right? So those will be called variable, and observations are finally measured values. So I'll show you a example which will make all this concept very clear. So I have a data set here. You can see this table. In the left hand side, that is the first column, there are names of 4 students. Okay, so data is collected on these 4 students. So they are the subjects of this study, and so we will call them elements. Now in this survey, their test scores, different test scores are collected. So test 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the characteristics. This defines that how much they have scored in each test. So these are the characteristics. So this we will call variable. And finally, all this numerical information are observed or measured values, right? So these are observation, and this complete table will be called data set. So this is how a data set look like in tabular format. Now coming to type of data, as you can see that there are 2 types of data. I already mentioned quantitative data and qualitative data. So quantitative data, as the name suggests, collects numerical data and analyze it. Just I mentioned that number of people in a country, you have to use some number. Okay, 5 crore, 6 crore, 100 crore, right? So you cannot use any word, any non-numerical word to explain this. Okay, so you have to use some numerical information. So this will come under quantitative data. On the other hand, qualitative data collects non-numerical data, such as it can be expressed using words, images, just like in which country you were born. So you have to mention the name of the country, India, right? So this is something which is not related to numerical directly. It's not a numerical value, right? The name India is a qualitative information. So it will be called a qualitative data. So I have some example of qualitative data as well as quantitative data. You can see gender. Gender can be either male or female. Okay, marital status can be either married or unmarried or widow. So there are different, this genders, marital status, religions can be expressed by non-numerical words. Okay, so you do not need numerical figures to express this. Okay, so these are qualitative data. On the other hand, age, weight, height, income, you have to explain, you have to reveal this information using only numerical values. Like age can be anything between 0 to 100 or more than that, right? So all these are numerical information. Same with height, weight, income. So you have to use specific figures to express this information, right? So I have two examples of, one example, that is one oil painting is shown here, but you can see this oil painting can be described using both qualitative data and quantitative data. So when we will talk about the color of this painting or the type of brush it has used, right? So it will constitute qualitative data. On the other hand, when we will talk about what is the weight of the picture or what is the length of the frame, right? We have to express all this information using we can only use numerical information to for measuring the width or length of the frame or to measure the weight of this oil painting. So all this will constitute quantitative data. And as I mentioned, the color, texture, all this you can express using some words or some adjectives which will come under qualitative data. Now coming to data representation, there are different formats of data representation. We have already seen one format, that is a textual format. So in the paper pattern which I have shown you, you have seen that numerical data even can be expressed in the format of a caselet, in the format of a text, right? So that is textual format. Apart from textual format, there are different graphical formats also using which you can express data. But before that, a majorly used format of data representation is tabular format, right? Then there are a bar graph, pie chart. These are all graphical, bar diagram, pie chart, line graph, scatter plot are all graphical representation of data. So I'll show you that how a same data can be represented in various way. So I have a data of ice cream sold, right? Number of different types of ice creams are there. How many numbers of each ice cream is sold, it's also mentioned there, and percentage. Finally, the percentage is also calculated. Now the same data, so here for example 34% of total ice cream sold is chocolate. Okay, so which is the highest percentage of ice cream? So most preferred, we can infer from this tabular data that most sold ice cream or most preferred type of ice cream is chocolate, as it constitutes 34% of the total sale. So in this way, we can infer different information regarding preference of ice cream of people or sale of ice cream from this tabular format. This same data can be represented in textual format as well. So this is the textual interpretation or representation of the same data, right? So I will just read few lines. So first line says that the table illustrates the sales distribution of 4 popular ice cream flavors, that is butterscotch, chocolate, strawberry and vanilla. A total number of ice cream were sold. So if you just total it, you can see that total number of ice cream will be 50. That is already mentioned in this text, right? And the data provides insight into preference of customer. As I mentioned, that since 34% of chocolate, that is the highest percentage, belongs to chocolate ice cream. So we can infer from here that chocolate emerged as the top choice with 17 units sold, which represent 34% of total sales. So the same data which is shown in tabular format can be represented in the textual format as well. Okay. This suggests that chocolate is the most favored flavor among the customers, right? Close behind it is followed by vanilla, which is 15 units sold, and 30%. So second number is vanilla, then making up to 30% of total, which is already mentioned in this table. Then vanilla is clearly a strong contender, strong competitor rather, of chocolate, appealing to nearly 1/3 of customer base. So that is additional information they have deducted here, that it constitute almost 1/3 of total ice cream sold. Butterscotch, though popular, lags behind with 10 units sold, only 10 units sold, and that's why it's the least, not least, it comes in third, right? While still a favorite among some, its demand is notably lower compared to chocolate and vanilla. Finally, strawberry, with only 8 units sold, represents 16%. So it is the least, we can say that it is the least preferred ice cream flavor. Okay, making it the least popular choice flavor in this selection. So you can see the same data. There is no as such additional information in the textual representation. So the same tabular data is expressed in textual representation, right? And even given this textual information, you can also write down this table. You can also put it in. You can also feed this data from numerical information from this text in tabular format as well. There are another format, other visual representation of data also. We will use same data to explain what is bar chart. So in case of bar chart, in the horizontal axis, we measure different, subjects, right? So here are our subjects are different types of ice cream, and here in the vertical axis, y-axis, we measure numbers, what is the measured value. So in this case, measured value is number of ice cream sold. So you can see that butterscotch, since butterscotch is sold only 10 units of butterscotch is sold from here, so the bar shows till 10, reaches till 10. Same for chocolate, the number of ice cream sold is 17, so it is little higher than, in the bar shows that it is little higher than 16, so almost here it's 17. Like this way, we can represent the data using bar graph. Same data, we can use the bar graph also. And finally, the pie chart. Pie chart already I have shown you when I discussed about the weightage. So pie chart is generally, it is a 360-degree graph, and it generally is used to show percentage of a subject or measured value. So here, percentage sold of different ice cream is sold using pie chart. So the same data is represented, number of items sold is shown in bar graph, and the percentage, another variable, is shown using pie chart, right? So the same data can be represented in various way. So that's all for today's discussion. I think this is enough to get an overall idea of quantitative techniques and what will be the question pattern, okay, and how numerical information even can be presented in textual format. Now in the next class, what we will do, we will begin with learning basic tools and techniques of mathematics, and we will start with basic mathematical operations. Then what is operator, what are different operators, then what are the order of different operations we will use, and finally we will solve some problems using operators and how to read and interpret textual numerical data. We have already learned today. In the next session also we will learn it. So I hope you enjoyed today's sessions and you also learned a lot. So hope to see you all in the next session. Thank you very much.